Big news today as President Trump announces that he has struck this deal with the Ukrainians for a minerals deal, where we're going to have access to some of their rare earth materials. And it's not necessarily a repayment for all of the aid that we've given them, but it gives us a reason to be involved in Ukraine, to look out for Ukraine, and President Trump thinks it'll be a deterrent to Putin in starting things back up again if he's able to put this to bed. The critics say, these are former Biden people, there's nothing to be gained in Ukraine. They don't have the rare minerals that we need. That's why we're all buying the stuff from China to begin with. So we've bought a pig in a poke. What do you say?
I don't know why they can't find a single thing that they can agree with the president on. Not a single thing. This deal was very important to the president to get done, and today was a big day. A lot of work went into getting this deal signed today because he values the fact that, as he talked about earlier in the cabinet meeting today, about how the American taxpayer has provided overall, when you look at all of the aid that's been given to Ukraine since the Russia-Ukraine war started, $350 billion. And when you look at some of the deals that some of the other European countries made with the aid they provided with Ukraine, either they used frozen Russian money, so they weren't using their taxpayer dollars, they found a way to give them frozen money from Russian funds, and in other areas they said, okay, we'll loan you this money and we'll figure out a payback plan for the future. But not us, not the Biden administration. This money was just given and that's it. So President Trump understood that, was very, very, very bothered by it, that the American people are just out of pocket on this without any means of any kind of repayment whatsoever. And so this minerals deal is a way for the American people to get some form of not return, but some kind of a repayment based on the taxpayer dollars that have been expended and used to pay for someone else's government to be run, to pay for someone else's infrastructure, even outside of all of the weapons system, while we still have communities here who have failing infrastructure, who have poisonous water,
yes,
who have people still in Western North Carolina who are homeless and don't have the basic needs that they have. And so this deal, yes, of course, he wouldn't have made the deal if they don't have these rare earth and minerals that still need to be mined. But of course we checked.
Yeah.
He's not going to go and make a blind deal based on just a handshake. And so this is a win for the American people, and it's a win for the Ukrainian people, because this joint partnership is something that is mutually beneficial for the people of both of our countries.
You think about the things we could have used some of that money for, with all due respect to the Ukrainians. I mean, we're talking about the southern border, how porous it is, more agents, maybe at the northern border, more agents, maybe to inspect some of the cargo that gets shipped in, maybe some treatment programs for people who get addicted to this poison and will be dead, if you play the odds, within 18 months. Maybe more immigration judges, so we can give all that due process the Democrats want us to give. Before, there's so many other ways we could have spent that money. So
I want to go back on you remember the tragic wildfire that hit my home community of Lahaina. I didn't live there, but it was within my district when I was in Congress, and how many lives were lost, and an entire town just razed to the ground. And when I went there just a couple of days after that fire happened and went out and talked to the people there on West Maui, and the fact that so many of them, not connected to each other, completely different conversations, different households, different locations, said, gosh, if only we were Ukraine, maybe somebody would pay attention to us. And that just speaks to what we're talking about here. And so this is this community of Lahaina now, who is only now, by the way, just starting to rebuild homes in communities and places where they have lived for generations. We talk about Western North Carolina and the very, very, very slow rebuild process that's going on there, that people who lost their homes are still paying property taxes and mortgages for the land and the home that they have, that they are not able to live on in any way at all. You look at...
I don't think I'd do it.
Well,
I don't think I'd be doing it.
That's the thing, is those are two of many examples. You have a level of poverty in West Virginia that I think many Americans would not see if but going to a third world country on the other side of the planet. The needs that we have here are very real, and part of the dissatisfaction that the American people have had for so long in our government is that the government, by and large, FEMA is a great example, you take all of this money, so much of this money, and it feeds into this bureaucracy, and you have all these officials going to places like Western North Carolina. I went there, and you hear the angst in people's voices when they say, no, FEMA hasn't been here, and they're hoarding supplies here or there. They're saying, hey, here you go, here's $500. Like, what a freaking insult that is. And then they see what's going on with, oh, we sent another 50 billion to Ukraine today, and then next, oh, we sent another 100 billion, and how people are celebrating that when they're not even looking at what's happening in our own backyard. And this is what I saw and experienced when I was helping President Trump during his election campaign, was that there was a spark of hope in people's hearts when they saw that he was addressing the very things that they were most concerned about. Their health and well-being, securing our borders, not allowing boys to play in girls' sports or allowing them into girls' bathrooms, things that are common sense and address the everyday needs of the American people, our security, him being the president of peace and trying to prevent war. This is a shift. This is the beginning of a shift to what we are all seeking to bring about, which is in this 250th anniversary of the founding of our country, how about let's have a government that actually serves the people, a government that is of, by, and for the people.
We were talking about Russia briefly. You and I have talked before about how Hillary Clinton labeled you a puppet of Putin, a Russian asset. Debbie Wasserman Schultz shamefully said the same. And I saw recently President Trump withdrew Hillary Clinton's security clearance, which you had to do.
Yes.
I mean, that must have been a little fun. Right? Oh, just a little fun.
I smiled.
Of course you did. You're only human.
Yeah, I am.
So yeah, that's over for her.
And a number of other people, by the way, when you look at the 51
Mark Zaid, I love
former
that.
intelligence officials who signed that Hunter Biden disinformation letter and never apologized for it, never held themselves accountable for it. Yes, Mark Zaid, you had Letitia James and
Why
others.
did she even have one?
Well, some of them didn't have clearances, but they had access to classified information, and so we took away that access for those
Alvin Bragg
who didn't have clearances. Yes.
Okay.
And there are more to come, and this is part of what we're doing in our investigative work as we go back and look, for example, at Crossfire Hurricane and how there were assistant U.S. attorneys who were knowingly using manufactured testimony, that they would interview a witness, for example, and know that the witness was lying to them, either because they set up the lie or they knew that the witness was lying, took that lie and used it as evidence to get a warrant under FISA to go and surveil on Americans, which is completely illegal. And so these are the kinds of things, those types of people, those assistant U.S. attorneys or those FBI agents that were involved in this kind of stuff, these are crimes that need to be prosecuted, and these people need to be held accountable.
Will that happen?
That will happen.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's called the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act.
That's right.
That's what it's
Yeah,
supposed
it's
to
a
be
good
used for.
reminder.
Yeah.